What's happening in Cleveland right now feels less like a football story and more like the birth of a cultural moment. You can sense it in the air, something electric, something unpredictable, something that doesn't quite fit the traditional script of the NFL. Rain poured down over FirstEnergy Stadium as thousands of Cleveland Browns fans gathered hours before kickoff, soaked to the bone, their voices echoing through the misty Ohio air. But they weren't chanting for their $230 million quarterback, Deshaun Watson. They weren't hyping up a seasoned veteran or even a promising backup. No, the crowd, from kids to grandparents, chanted one name, Shedeur Sanders. The rookie, the fifth-round pick, the unproven son of Coach Prime himself. That single moment, those chants breaking through the storm, was a turning point. It wasn't just noise from a restless fan base. It was a declaration of hope. Cleveland, a city that suffered heartbreak after heartbreak, had found something new to believe in. And that belief wasn't built on stats or game film. It was built on perception, charisma, and the idea that maybe, just maybe, this kid could be different. To understand how surreal this is, you have to look at the context. Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the guy. The Browns traded away 3 first-round picks and gave him one of the richest guaranteed contracts in NFL history. It was supposed to be a move that changed everything, one that finally brought stability to a franchise long defined by dysfunction. But it hasn't worked. Whether it's his on-field struggles, off-field controversies, or the suffocating pressure of that massive deal, Watson's time in Cleveland has been a slow burn of disappointment. Fans have watched his play grow erratic, his leadership questioned, his spark fading with each incomplete pass. And while Watson's star has dimmed, Shedeur's has only grown brighter, despite him not having played a single meaningful down yet. His arrival in Cleveland was supposed to be quiet, almost an afterthought in the 5th round of the 2025 draft, but the way his name spread through the city and across social media was anything but quiet. Overnight, his jersey shot into the league's top 5 in sales. Think about that. Before he'd ever thrown a touchdown in the NFL, Shedeur Sanders was outselling Pro Bowlers. His highlight reels from Colorado were being shared everywhere. Kids started mimicking his throwing motion at youth practices. TikTok clips of his interviews were pulling millions of views. Suddenly, this wasn't just about football. It was about identity, swagger, and the rise of a new kind of player in the modern NFL. The player who builds a movement before he ever steps onto the field. The hype, of course, has roots. Shedeur Sanders was more than just a college star. He was a phenomenon. Under the watchful eye of his father, Dillon Coach Prime Sanders, he turned the Colorado Buffaloes into one of the most talked-about teams in the nation. He was calm under pressure, surgical with his accuracy, and sharp in his leadership. Scouts praised his composure but questioned his pedigree. Could a player so intertwined with his father's legend stand on his own? Was his success just a product of the system? Those doubts lingered long enough to push him down the draft board, and when he finally went to Cleveland in the 5th round, the football world was stunned. But what the league didn't realize then is that Shedeur's greatest weapon wasn't just his arm. It was his ability to connect. He knows how to engage an audience. He knows how to carry himself like a brand. He talks to fans, not at them. He's confident without being careless, authentic without being forced. That authenticity resonates deeply, especially among younger fans who are tired of seeing emotionless press conferences and robotic answers. They want players who talk like them, dress like them, live like them, and in Shedeur Sanders, they see that reflection. Meanwhile, in the Browns' front office, there's a storm brewing that goes far beyond the field. The executives who tied the franchise's future to Deshaun Watson are now watching as the fans fall in love with the backup. For head coach Kevin Stefanski, every Watson interception now carries more weight. Every missed throw becomes a chorus of Shedeur, Shedeur, raining down from the stands. For Watson, that's a psychological battlefield all its own, playing not just against the defense, but against the ghost of a young man waiting in the wings. And that's what makes this so volatile. Shedeur hasn't taken a single meaningful snap, but his presence alone is reshaping the Browns' identity. When the backup quarterback becomes a cultural symbol, the team loses control of the narrative. It's not just about wins or losses anymore, it's about belief. The fans have already made their choice, and the organization is now caught between loyalty to their $230 million man and the gravitational pull of public demand. But let's be honest, this isn't entirely new in sports. We've seen glimpses of this before. Tim Tebow in Denver, where chants for him overwhelmed Kyle Orton. Tom Brady, once a 6th-round pick who quietly waited for his shot behind Drew Bledsoe. But even those comparisons fall short. Tebow was a first-rounder. Brady's support came after he proved himself on the field. Shedeur Sanders' phenomenon exists before the proof, fueled purely by hope, legacy, and modern fandom's obsession with narrative over numbers. It's a fascinating reflection of where sports are today. Fans don't just follow teams, they follow personalities. They don't just want performance, they want connection. Shedeur Sanders embodies that evolution. He's the first true product of the social media generation of athletes, crafted in the spotlight, fluent in its language, and unshaken by its pressure. That's why his movement feels unstoppable. It's not just fans reacting to bad quarterback play, it's fans choosing their future. For Cleveland's leadership, though, this is a nightmare. They can't just bench a man they paid $230 million without inviting chaos. But how long can they ignore the chants? How long before a late-game interception or another losing streak forces their hand? The possible scenarios are endless. Maybe Watson gets injured, giving Shedeur his shot. Maybe the season collapses and the team turns to youth for a spark. Or maybe the unthinkable happens. The Browns bench their star, swallowing the cost, and roll the dice on a 5th-round rookie. It would be historic, it would be risky, and it would be Cleveland. For Shedeur, this attention cuts both ways. The love is intoxicating now, but one bad start could flip it in an instant. Fans are fickle, especially in a city starved for success. But if he delivers, if he comes in and shows that same calm, that same charisma that captivated the college world, he won't just win games. He'll win Cleveland's heart forever. Dillon Sanders, for his part, is wisely staying quiet, letting his son carve his own path. But you can imagine the pride simmering beneath the surface. He knows what it's like to command a crowd, to make people believe in something bigger than the scoreboard. Now, his son stands on the verge of doing the same, not as Coach Prime's kid, but as Cleveland's future. And make no mistake, every other team in the league is watching. Because this moment could change how fan influence works in professional football. The Cleveland faithful are no longer passive spectators. They're participants in the story, shaping it with every chant, every retweet, every viral clip. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's completely 21st century football. So as the rain falls and the chants echo through FirstEnergy Stadium, you can feel it. Something bigger than football taking shape. A new kind of power dynamic between fans, franchises, and the players who bridge the two. The question now isn't just when Shedeur Sanders will play. It's what happens when he finally does, and whether Cleveland is ready for the storm he's about to unleash. What do you think, Cleveland fans? Has the time already come for Shedeur Sanders to take over the Browns? Or should the team stick it out with Deshaun Watson a little longer? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is only just beginning. And trust me, it's one that could rewrite the future of the NFL. If you enjoyed diving into this drama, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more updates, and ring that bell so you never miss the next chapter of this unfolding saga.